everyone, and thanks for plugging in for another episode of Plugged In with Diane Warren. With us today is a very special guest, the E-Channel coordinator for Contact North, Sarah Stalker. This podcast is produced by the team at Good Learning Anywhere, and our theme music is by bensound.com. We are your hosts, Diane Altinbalek and Warren Butler. Warren, how are you doing today?
Morning, Diane. I'm doing well. It's been an early start to the day for me. Got up at 5:30 this morning. My older son is back playing lacrosse, which is a great thing now that it's a great sign that things are kind of getting back to normal. So he had to bring him to the subway. He was out early on the field this morning. And then I had to bring my son to the orthodontist already. Our dog ate both my son's retainers.
Oh no.
So this is going to be a very expensive week. So, and for their retainers, they have two of them for top and bottom. So that's times two. And last night, my son broke two hockey sticks in practice. So
oh my God.
This has been like an expensive day. Expensive last 24 hours at least.
Oh my gosh. Well, I hope that softens up on you and you don't end up emptying your bank account on all of these incidentals.
Well, I'm going to try to see if I can push it through our benefits plan. I'll be curious if they come back with any questions or see how far I can get. Pretty sure they're not going to authorize new hockey sticks, though. I don't think we have any benefits for that, though.
Oh, I wish. My 3D printer gave out this week, right when I was about to print a jack-o'-lantern for our Halloween decor because we didn't have time to go out and get a pumpkin to carve. And I got it all set up. I was excited. I posted it on Instagram, and then the heater on my extruder died, and there was nothing I could do to fix it. And the previous printer that I had kept for parts, the extruder on that one had died too, so I didn't even have a replacement. So we were very lackluster and undecorated for Halloween this year.
It happens. That's life.
Yep. And I don't think that our benefits are going to cover a new 3D printer for me either. No matter how much I justify it as a mental health need.
There we go.
So I am really, really excited about our guest this week because it is our first time successfully tracking down a guest who is out of our organization. I am really, really pleased to welcome Sarah Stalker from Contact North. So yay, applause.
Thanks, Diane. I'm happy to be with you.
Well, and we used to do a lot of PD and other sorts of things with you, and we haven't seen you in a while. So Warren and I were really, really excited to even just corner you for a little chat right now and spend some time and catch up with you.
Well, I hope it didn't feel like I was being elusive.
No, we know that it's just been a weird year and a half now.
Absolutely.
So let's get to the meat and potatoes of this little interview that we've got planned here. So tell us about your role at Contact North.
Sure. I am known as Contact North's E-Channel coordinator. And what that means is I'm the person who works with literacy and basic skills organizations in the E-Channel group, which include Good Learning Anywhere for the Indigenous stream, of course, and the programs, the Learning Hub, Formation à Distance, Deaf Learn Now, and ACE Distance to support the online literacy and basic skills program delivery in Ontario. Now, I work with other organizations beyond E-Channel to help develop the capacity of those who deliver programming in literacy and basic skills and to offer more for their learners by assisting in development of series of webinars and in projects that many literacy organizations are doing to further their work. So I think of myself as being a generalist. Sometimes I see myself jumping from ice flow to ice flow as I try to keep abreast of what's happening in technical developments and in project work, and in responding to everything from COVID to network outages. And I work as part of a group called Learning Technologies within Contact North, where we try to keep abreast of some of the options available in software to help programs put some of their programming online. For instance, we do support Good Learning Anywhere in terms of not only your live classroom delivery of courses, currently using Adobe Connect web conferencing, but also your use of Moodle as a learning management system to offer anytime course programming for your learners. And we try to research what other options there are, because of course technology changes so very quickly all the time. Some of the eChannel organizations are now using Zoom, which we are meeting on with you this morning. And we are very aware of the costs of all the softwares in use, and licensing is always a challenge. So we look at alternatives to what is costly, and look at open source software as well. One of the things that Good Learning Anywhere uses currently to augment the other types of delivery I mentioned is a system called Plato courseware that's offered by a vendor called Edmentum, and it gives Good Learning Anywhere and others who use it other options for courses to offer learners, for instance, in the career and technical education area. So my job is to help try to keep abreast of what the options are, and to try to be a liaison with those who are the technical specialists who help when things aren't working well, to work with my colleagues to provide resources for what you are using that Contact North supports, and to try to keep in mind what your needs are so that we can plan for them each fiscal year.
Awesome. We really, really do appreciate everything that you do for us. So we're just going to take a step backwards for a second. So we keep on talking about Contact North, and we've talked about what the eChannel is and what it provides and your role there. But for the people who know Contact North by name but don't know what they do, what is Contact North and how does eChannel fit with them?
Contact North is a nonprofit organization that's funded by the government of Ontario through a couple of ministries of the province. It has been around as an entity since 1986, and it's headquartered in Thunder Bay. It is in existence to serve the population of the province, especially in the underserviced, not just areas, but peoples of the province. We look particularly at the small, rural, remote, Indigenous and Francophone communities, and want to help people in their communities access education and training without having to leave. And Contact North has provided, since its inception, access to some of the software and hardware to allow those residents to access the programming that they are interested in terms of training and education. It has done this by developing a network of online learning centers across the province. There are 116 of them that have been in existence for some time.
Wow.
Of course, through COVID, all of our centers are hosted by a variety of community spaces. And when I say hosted, it is the communities that ask Contact North to come in to provide a center for their residents. And it is a community space that Contact North uses at the discretion of the host. So in some communities, we could be in a school, we could be in a community college, we could be in a recreation center, we could be in an educational learning center or an Employment Ontario office or area of service. So depending on what has happened in response to the pandemic and the safety that the host has put in place, the safety protocols, and not all of our 116 operating centers have reopened. The protocols are in place to open safely as the host allows. And at this time, we are at something over 40 centers reopened and aiming to reopen as many more as quickly as we can. What we have planned on is having them all reopened by September of 2022, with safety, of course, being the first priority. We also, in this fiscal year, have the opportunity to open another 12 centers in communities, for example, such as Pikangikum, that has for a long time been a First Nation that has been seeking additional access for its residents to educational opportunities. So we are trying to develop further in providing assistance to communities where there is great need, and hoping that this will really respond, especially to places such as the First Nations that Good Learning Anywhere serves, to augment what is already available. When we have operational online learning centers open, can allow for students and clients to come into those centers to speak to colleagues of mine who staff them, who can provide information on what programming is available online and help provide information that will help a client. And if a client wishes to register for a program with any educational provider, that staff will help the client become a student, help with the registration process, and they can provide access to computers and the equipment in the online learning center if a student wants to undertake their studies there. Sometimes, of course, people don't have the necessary access at home because of internet challenges or equipment. Perhaps the student needs a quiet place to study and to work and just get away from their family and their pets for a little while. Historically, Contact North has also offered invigilation if a student is, for instance, doing post-secondary studies and has exams to write. So that's a little bit about what Contact North does.
That's certainly not a little bit. Contact North seems to do an awful lot, which we very, very much appreciate, from the on-the-ground learning centers to the support from in-person practitioners that we have partnered with in the past, the community outreach aspect, the working with communities, the support for people learning at a distance in post-secondary school as well. It's just, you guys offer so much, and we really, really appreciate everything that you've done, not only to support our clientele, but everything that you've put into adult learning just across the board. It's a really, really amazing organization. And sometimes I wonder, and I'm horrified at what the adult learning landscape would look like without programs like Contact North. So let's switch gears a little bit. Tell us what you personally like the most about working with e-channel programs.
I love the people who are leading their programs in each channel. I think every program manager and instructor that I've come across is passionate about putting the learner first and looking after their needs, and very mindful about the challenges that they faced. The pandemic, again, of course, has really brought home all of the incredible strains and stresses that people have been under, and every one of these people care about the mental health, about the living conditions, about access, and about trying to help learners achieve their goals. So I have nothing but respect for all of them, and every program is very unique in each channel. So each one of the key players in the e-channel group is a unique individual, but they do share that passion for meeting the needs of their learners, and that's what excites me. It makes what is sometimes what sometimes appears to be an endless pile of challenges to overcome very much worthwhile.
Awesome. So do you ever get to hear what the learners are saying about the online programs in the e-channel?
Not as much as I'd like to. Sometimes I get just the opposite. This doesn't work and I can't log in. But I do get to learn about student success stories periodically. Thank goodness. And sometimes these are relayed to me via a technical support contact or from one of our online learning centers. And sometimes I see the responses collected from instructors who share their learners' comments or their questions. It can be as simple as just being grateful for being able to connect with an educational provider for a program of interest. It could be something along the lines of, recently I heard about a couple of different Good Learning Anywhere learners who lived at some distance from their communities and didn't have a driver's license, and they took the Good Learning Anywhere preparation, preparing for your G1 driver's test successfully, got their licenses, and that just made such a difference in their lives. It sounds like a basic thing, but it's so fundamental to being able to move ahead with your goals.
Okay, so working in not only the learning industry, but also the technological industry at the same time, you must have some really cool stories. So do you have any favorites that you want to share? Regale us with some war tales.
I will always remember my trip to Attawapiskat with Good Learning Anywhere's program manager, Linda Wright, in 2012, when we got a little bit of weather and got to have a slightly longer stay than anticipated. And watching my colleague Tina Reed and Linda at work in our online learning center there, trying to literally get all of the equipment hooked up to meet with and it really put in place a pathway, as we called it, a way that the Ontario Works manager in the community could work with the online learning center lead at the time in Contact North's Attawapiskat Center to help some of the clients on social assistance in the community at that time move into education, meeting both their Ontario Works requirements and working toward the goals that these residents had. It was wonderful to be there because in a past experience, I had worked at the Indian Friendship Center in Sault Ste. Marie and certainly had visited other First Nations communities, but not quite so far north. And it's always a good reality check to visit a truly remote community, a community that is normally fly-in, and maybe even more so with the condition of winter roads and the challenges of climate change. But it was, again, really heartening to spend some time with community residents and know how meaningful the opportunities can be to be able to access programming where they are.
Mhm.
That's that's a really good point there, Sarah. It's, I think, for you and myself, sometimes we're kind of working behind the scenes. We're not necessarily on the front lines as much as what we would probably like to be, but to kind of see those stories and talk to people, and it really gives you a different perspective on, different challenges and barriers, and the different things that they're going through, right? So I think that's always really special. But just for our listeners, the people who are listening to the podcast, when we talk about how far Attawapiskat is, what does that mean? I'm in Toronto, so far for me is Sudbury, which is like 4 hours away. How far would Attawapiskat be?
Oh boy. I can tell you, even in flying, it takes hours. I remember Linda Wright taking maps out to try to show how long it would take those in Toronto to drive to Good Learning Anywhere's corporate headquarters in Sioux Lookout. And as I recall, it would be on the order of 16 to 20 hours. And looking at Attawapiskat, you can't normally drive. So the distance, I think you have to think of it in terms of access to the community. And so again, I think of the flights I took at the time I was traveling from Thunder Bay, and there certainly wasn't a direct flight unless you could charter one, and that was a little over our budget. We ended up going to Sudbury, Timmins, Moose Factory, and almost couldn't fly in because of the weather, but we made it. And it's many hours. So I don't know if I could give you the accurate figure, because I'm not looking at a map right now, Warren, but it's distant. It's on the James Bay, the lower part of what some people are more familiar with, Hudson's Bay. But it's way up there.
Yeah, I traveled there in February of 2013 with Tina Reed, and it took us days. So it's funny, I'm actually looking at my Google here. The flight distance, if you were to fly direct from Thunder Bay International Airport to Attawapiskat Airport, would be 703 kilometers. So a little bit more than half of the distance from here to Toronto. But you don't fly direct. We flew to Sudbury, then we were supposed to fly from Sudbury to Timmins, and we got rerouted because of weather to North Bay. Then we ended up going from North Bay to Timmins. We got stuck in Timmins overnight, and then the next morning we got on an Air Quebec flight, and we basically skipped from community to community until we made it to Attawapiskat. And then we got snowed into Attawapiskat, so our 2-day visit became a 4-day visit. And what was really, really incredible about our visit up there was that everybody was friendly and welcoming. And if I had to be stuck in an unfamiliar place, there's no place that I would rather be than somewhere like Attawapiskat. The innkeepers at the Cataquapit Inn put us up, and they were extremely caring and very, very doting on us, made sure that we had everything. Stella, the employee at the time at Contact North, was incredibly great about showing us around the town, making sure that we had everything that we need provided for us. And the advantage was that we got an extra couple of days to sort of meet with people in the community and do a little bit of a registration drive. And we got to meet people. We got to talk about Good Learning Anywhere programming. We got to talk about various Contact North programming, and we got to hear the needs and concerns of the people on the ground. And it was an incredible opportunity.
Yeah, I hearken back to with the extra time we had there, walking around the community and visiting some of the incredible numbers of local entrepreneurs' coffee shops. Of course, no Tim Hortons, but it seemed like every few houses had their own shop, and it might be a corner store come coffee shop, but it was a gathering place, and you could always go in and have a chat, have a coffee, meet people, and it's a good way to get a feel for the community.
I did not miss Tim Hortons one bit when I was there. Not at all.
No.
No, totally different experience. And you're right, like walking around, meeting the people, seeing the businesses, it was just awesome. It's just for everything that community has been through in the past with dealing with environmental impact issues and dealing with mines and all of that type of stuff. They are resilient and they are bright and such a wonderful, vibrant community with some really, really excellent people.
Absolutely.
So tell us about some of the key players on the Contact North team.
Well, we are led by our Chief Executive Officer and President, Maxime Jean-Louis, who moved to Canada from Haiti as a teenager and was educated in the Edmonton area and was at Athabasca University for many years before making the move to Contact North. Our other key players include, of course, all of our technical support team. As I know you know, but perhaps our listeners don't know that one of Contact North's key services is providing access to a help desk, a technical help desk, and technicians man that from 7:30 in the morning to 10:30 at night every day that there is programming on our network, and that usually means Monday to Friday. So I consider all of our information technology folks very critical to the organization. The lead now is Charmaine Kissman, and we also think of the people who are directing the operations of all of those centers I mentioned previously. We have what we call directors of recruitment and partnerships in 6 regions of the province, so that the whole province is covered. And each of those regional directors looks after the management of the centers in their part of the province and helps their teams of colleagues to reach out to the community members, to provide information, to work with the educational providers and share their program information with the community members, and to help recruit students for those educational partners. I also consider key my colleagues in the Learning Technologies Department. I've worked for many years with Joni Sharkey, who is the chief, I would say, sort of technical person in learning technologies. She's the learning support specialist. And with Stacy Ornatowski, we are those who are asked to kind of be the liaison between the information technology specialists and the users out there. We're not the engineers, so we don't provide the engineering type answer to most questions. We try to put a human face on it and say, well, if I don't understand that, probably the users won't either. And to develop resources that users need, whether those users are instructors or literacy practitioners, or whether they're actually students, and to create those in English and in French, and to post them on portals that can be used by whatever nature of user needs them. So I consider these colleagues key, but also it's a big organization in terms of those who, again, are not visible, but they're out there manning a student information hotline, providing information whenever somebody calls any of the centers or the corporate headquarters. There are so many people working on keeping our websites up to date and to provide for professional development opportunities in webinars, provide a bi-weekly online learning newsletter. It's a big team, and I consider them all very, very important, and they're wonderful people.
That is awesome. So, where would you like to see eChannel in the next 5 years in terms of goals, improvements? Are there any projects you're working on?
I would like to see eChannel viewed as an integral part of literacy and basic skills by everyone in literacy and basic skills, instead of still being seen too often by some folks as competition. I'd like all eChannel organizations to be able to access all the program delivery tools that work best for them and for their learners and communities. And it would be wonderful if we could overcome the accessibility issues that are still a big challenge in such a big province, and especially thinking about the First Nations and some of the truly remote and underserviced areas of the province. I expect some of the extended reality developments that are now becoming more widely used to become accessible to these programs. And I would hope well within 5 years, some of that will be available to assist them. There are programs beyond eChannel that are using augmented reality or virtual reality to provide additional simulations and training opportunities that I think could very well be applied in literacy and basic skills, and in eChannel in particular. So I hope that that will be something that is within reach. We certainly can anticipate more challenges ahead. I think that we will get to a point that we can live with the pandemic, but I hope that we can learn from the experiences we've had to keep providing for the needs of our learners, regardless of the challenges that come up.
You know what's interesting about all that, Sarah, and I've been sitting back, kind of listening to our conversation going back and forth, and there's kind of a theme that's really been running through our chat this morning, and it's really coming down to people. And as much as online learning can feel cold and maybe distant, but I think with eChannel and Contact North and programs like Good Learning Anywhere, I think we're really emphasizing that human element, that personal touch that's required. Especially if we want to see the eChannel and online distance delivery growing and expanding and broadening our reach. The focus on people is huge. And, you were talking about your team and how important everyone is and the roles that they have. And I can speak to our team as well. It's very, very similar. And it's the same with the other eChannel programs as well. It's the learners come first, and same with the staff and employees at the various organizations that are involved too.
Well, that's the thing, is you can't have success working in online learning and adult literacy if your learners are not having success. So all approaches should ultimately be learner success focused.
Yeah, it's it's always necessary to try to come up with solutions for their immediate challenges, and to try to look further ahead and find better ways when we just have band-aids for some of the immediate problems. So I think all of us are trying to do that.
Yes. So, another question, are there any online learning and LBS partners that you want to give a shout out to, since we're on the topic of recognizing people?
Oh boy, it's amazing. I work with, of course, very closely with the 5 e-channel organizations, and I don't want to call out individual names because I'd overlook somebody. But there's also dedicated, passionate, innovative people supporting not only the delivery organizations, but all of their practitioners across the province. And I'd like to give a shout out as well to the Learning Networks of Ontario and to the provincial support organizations for literacy, because we are strengthened by, I guess, networks of literacy networks that try to look out for those who are meeting the needs of the learners on the ground, and trying to be mindful of the challenges that are still there for them, trying to develop really relevant professional development opportunities, and to develop the capacities that they can, even with limited resources. So I think those are people that I'd like to give a shout out to, because we're all mutually supportive, and all, again, to the same end, to try to meet the needs of the learners.
Fantastic. So, tell us how interested parties can learn more about Contact North and e-channel programs, and even join up and register.
Sure. We invite those who are comfortable and can access online information to visit the e-channel portal, and that's available at e-channel.ca. And we also invite them to use our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/online LBS, and to check out the course guides that are posted in the e-channel resources tab on the e-channel website each winter, spring, and fall. And for those who prefer to call for information, to call Contact North's Student Information Hotline, and that's available at 1-877-999-9149. There are people ready to answer questions, and we invite everyone to connect with our staff as well at the 116 online learning centers around the province. Even those centers that are not physically open still have staff available online and on the phone to speak to and to assist learners and clients, and those who may want to refer students or clients to them to support them. Some of those online learning centers have been looking for access points in communities in cases where the actual online learning center isn't open yet. They might use a local library or an Employment Ontario office or some other place that is agreeable and is accessible to everyone, so that that there still can be some face-to-face opportunities where it's safe. So those are some of the ways that people can find out about e-channel. Contact North also maintains a portal called studyonline.ca, and it lists the 116 online learning centers provides information about how to connect with them, their addresses and contact information, and it also updates information about which centers are currently open given the pandemic. So those are some of the ways people can connect and get more information. And I am available at the address e-channel@contactnorth.ca if anyone wants to reach out directly to me for additional information.
Fantastic. So we've got a long and cold winter coming for a great portion of the province. So if you're interested in online learning, please get in touch with Contact North or get in touch with us directly. If you're interested in registering for classes, you can contact us at goodlearninganywhere.com. You can see our full course catalog and you can register. The website is very, very easy to use. You can also contact us for more information by email at info@shlc.ca. And if you have any questions or wanted to follow up on anything that we've discussed in this podcast today, you can reach out to me directly. That it's Diane at shlc.ca, DIANE at shlc.ca. So Warren, did you have anything that you wanted to add before we said goodbye to Sarah today?
Well, first and foremost, I want to thank Sarah for her time. This is an extremely busy time of year for all of us. And when eChannel is busy, that means Contact North is equally as busy. So definitely very appreciative of your time, Sarah. Huge shout out to Contact North. The people out in the field, out in the communities, it's been fantastic working with them over the years. I've been here for about 12 years now, and you see people come and go, but I think Contact North has always done a great job of bringing in great people, and it's kind of been a theme through today. So I think we want to continue that as we go through 2022 and carry on into the new year. It's an exciting time to be a part of eChannel, and I think we're very fortunate to have partners such as Contact North and Sarah and her team.
Absolutely. I'm really, really thrilled for not just what they provided for us in terms of the infrastructure, but also the opportunities. We have a lot of really, really unique courses. We have a lot of really, really creative style courses where we foster some non-traditional learning paths. And I don't think that we would have that opportunity without eChannel. So we're really grateful once again, Sarah, for everything that you do, everything for all the key players at eChannel and on the Contact North team as well. Please give our love to Maxim and everybody else too.
Well, thank you, Diane and Warren. It's been a pleasure to have this time with you. As I said, I get my passion for what I do from working with people such as you and organizations that reach out to help people. I am looking forward to winter because I'm a winter person, and cross-country skiing and snowshoeing is coming soon. So I wish everybody a great winter too, and stay safe, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And just a reminder to everybody out there that we've got Remembrance Day coming up on November 11th. Please go out, show your support for the veterans and your appreciation for everybody who have sacrificed and given for the safety of this country. And please buy a poppy, express your appreciation. Good Learning Anywhere offices are going to be closed that day, and we will resume our operations on November 12th. Anyway, Warren, it was really, really good to see you, and I am looking very, very forward to our next episode where we are going to be featuring Nida Doherty, who is our creative writing guru here at Good Learning Anywhere. We're hoping to talk to her about how the creative process lends itself to the value of learning, as well as hoping to hear some samples from some of our creative writing learners as well.
Sounds great. Thanks, Di. Thanks, Sarah. We'll catch up soon.